This is step 4. And here we want to talk about the fact that, in a candidate-driven market, slow decisions sometimes send bad signals to candidates. I think that a lot of candidates these days expect a pretty snappy recruitment process, because if we won't be quick and if we won't be dynamic, somebody else will, and talent can disappear pretty quickly. So it's almost as if we're in a race, but at the same time, we don't want to lose the important assessment that we put candidates through to make sure that they are the right person. So the question here we have, why do senior experts increasingly interpret hiring speed as a proxy for operational maturity?
I don't think faster is better, Natalia, personally. I think understanding what the process is and being transparent from the very start is key. What we see, I don't know, again, you're obviously a hiring entity in your own right. What we see is that processes are elongated. It's a 3-stage process. It'll be over this normal time frame. These are the people that will be involved, and it will move to offer or decline. It's when organizations are adding more steps for whatever reason, they're unsure, probably thinking AI has got some involvement, and therefore they start to worry about is it their own work or so on. I think it's not about speed. I think transparency of the process, personally speaking, is the most important thing, not necessarily interview 1, interview 2 the following day, move to offer on day 3. There are organizations that will do that. Funnily enough, their attrition is probably the highest because it's too quick. Yeah. Is my view.
Yeah. I agree with you. And, I think that just to be very clear, I don't believe that faster is better. This is just a question that we put here, but I very much believe in managing expectations. And I always talk about it to every hiring manager that I talk to, is that if it has to take long, okay, but let us tell the candidate that it will take long, and let us be very honest and transparent, like you said, Alistair, that this process will take 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, however long we need it to take, but be honest with candidates and don't change your mind during the process, because I think that's where the problem is.
Agreed.
In my mind, there are 2 things to mention. First of all, it's a rather psychological thing about evaluating the possibility to change the company for the candidate, right? So if we are not talking about just grabbing of the resumes of the open to find the work people, but if we are thinking about the headhunting and about the cherry picking on the market, it is always a time which is required for the person who get addressed with a proposal opportunity to address this to himself and to think about, am I ready or not? Should I all consider this company or not? And it's not something that the people like impulse get this in the same moment they see the opportunity, right? They have to live with that a bit. So they have to think and revise this and maybe get back to this again and weigh all the benefits and concerns. So it takes time. So if you be too quick or too fast, it may even work worse for us, right? So we're just pushing someone. And this is just like a selling of luxury cars. So it is not something that you sell just like immediately. People have to live with this. They have to desire this, right? So you have to bring this in the way that they desire it, and they have to come to this idea that they want to. And it takes time. So it might be not more than, 2 months, but it still requires some time. It is the first thing which I would like to mention. The second thing is that nowadays, I would say that the leaders, even C-level managers, they have to be involved in the process of hiring of their good talents, right? So they have to be open to that. They have to be in field, right? they have to spend some time for that, because it actually gives them possibility to spread the important things about the business to those candidates, to directly put them into the position to understand what business is needing. And this is a great opportunity for them, and this is a great opportunity for the candidates to hear the exact things and challenges and whatever, and feeling of the maybe owners of the company. So I would say it's plays very well when the high-level managers are also joining the process of the interviewing, maybe at the final step for 15 minutes, doesn't matter, but it also gives a lot of winning points while you are trying to attract the candidate which is good for you.
I would agree completely. I think that the only thing that I would add to that is I think there are a couple of things that, from a candidate perspective, sometimes are overlooked. I would agree that I think a lot of this just simply comes down to the management of expectations. I've never personally had a problem if we've outlined at the front of the process, in the very first stages, what the stages are going to look like, and more importantly, the timeframes. The onus is then on everybody to keep to those. I think one of the key elements is to build momentum into the process. Better to take time at the front end and accelerate and build momentum to conclusion rather than the other way around, which I think see all too often. Companies are very quick to act in a knee-jerk fashion because, to your earlier point, Sergey, the requirement is live, it's needed, but you slow the process towards the end. And I think it's important to remember there is no formula. What you provide by way of a process to a technology candidate will be very different to the process and the timeframes involved in a compliance hire versus a finance hire versus a sales hire. And we work very hard, with organizations to tailor processes to their timeframes and the audience that they're looking to meet. But the conversation piece, which often isn't fully understood, I don't think, but is perhaps increasingly so, is the fact that the way that a company conducts themselves through the interview process and the way that their decision making is represented or interpreted is directly proportional in the candidate's mind to the way in which the company functions.
I think for certain candidates, it's okay to take longer. Like Sergey said, it needs to be the desire. I used to work in this big law firm in the UK, and we were hiring for a very senior director level role. And this is the longest recruitment that I was ever part of. It took 1 year and 2 months.
Oh.
And the candidate who we hired was in the process from the very beginning for 15 months. And but we were very honest and transparent from the very beginning. We had to fly candidates from different countries to see the managing directors, managing partners. It was my first experience like this for such a long process. I didn't think this was going to work, but the candidates were at such level that they understood that this is how long it takes. Some of the notice periods were 6 months for some of these candidates. So I think that the right candidate will understand why the process is taking long and the value in it taking long. But it's, again, I think we all agree here that it's about just being honest about it and being transparent and conducting ourselves as employers properly throughout the whole process from start to finish, not switching gears, not changing the tempo, not changing the approach and suddenly going quiet on the candidate, but consistently keeping them informed and like we like to say this in recruitment, keeping them warm. Just to show our interest, because it's not, it's a two-way street. We have to show we are selling ourselves to this candidate as well.
And here we comes back to the topic of fishing, right?
Yes, fishing again. Yes, warm fish.
Communication's key. if you arguably over communicate rather than under communicate, and that, I think increasingly it's important. We find ourselves in this position because we sit, as an intermediary. It's not our relationship with the candidate. It's your relationship as an employer with the candidate that really matters, and that's that again is often, I think, overlooked, or in the sense that yes, we have our job to do, and but at the same time, it's their relationship with you which is going to ultimately close this deal. They're working for you at the end of the day, and that needs work as well, I think, across industry wide.
Of course.